Yes, sir.
Okay. So inverse output multiplicative perturbation. So what was the perturbation representation? This was our nominal block GM. Then we had a summing point, and then there was a block here. Okay. So plus and minus. This was our U. This was our Y. Okay, and this was our perturbed block. So how can you represent this in the LFT form? Just try. This is GP, the perturbed plant. What will we do? We have to first identify the Z and W. What is Z actually? Do you remember what was our Z? Z was the input to the perturbation block. So this point is Z. Okay. And this point is W. What is W? W is the exogenous input. Okay. And what is Z? Z is the regulated output. Right. So now what we have to do? We have to cut open at this point and remove the perturbation block. So you will get, this will give like this. This is GM. This is the summing point. And here is our Y, right? So this is W minus sign. And this is Z. This was U. Correct? So what is our Z here? What can you write? What will be Z? Tell me. Prashant, what is Z? Prashant?
GM into U.
GM into U
minus W.
Minus W, correct. And what is our Y? Srinivasan, are you there? Srinivasan?
Sir, no, sir. He has some work, it seems. So.
Same as Z, sir.
Same as?
Z.
Yeah, correct. So GMU minus W. Okay. So your LFT representation will be like this. Z comma Y equal to minus I, then this into what? WU. So this becomes minus I, this is GM, then here again minus I and GM. Okay. So we can represent this in LFT. Okay. So let us go to the next topic now. Uncertain parameters as LFTs. Uncertain parameters as LFTs. Because this is the first step in robust control analysis. Okay, we need to separate out the perturbation block from the perturbed plant. Okay, we must have the perturbation as a separate block, then controller, and then the plant, nominal plant. Okay, suppose we have, there's a parameter C, right? And C is not to take on values in this range, say 2 less than or equal to, say C less than or equal to 2.8. Okay, so we know that it has perturbation, lower limit is 2 and upper limit is 2.8, right? So how can you represent this? We can write this as C equals, you can take the mean value. What will be the mean of this thing? What's the mean? Tell me. 2.4, right? 2 plus 2.8 by 2. That will be 2.4. And what will be the deviation? 0.4, right? So I can write like this: 0.4 into delta C. Okay, where delta C belongs to this set. It can range from -1 to +1. Okay, is this right? Sorry.
So what is C?
C is some parameter. Some example. C is a parameter. A parameter C.
And delta C, sir?
Delta C is the variation. Okay. So you see the lower limit is 2 and the upper limit is 2.8. Okay. So the average value is 2.4 plus 0.4 delta C. So delta C can take values between -1 to 1. So that means 2.4 plus 0.4, 2.4 minus 0.4, you can say. Your C. Got it? Did you get it? Did you get me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now suppose you want to what was our ULFT equation, upper LFT? Do you remember what was the general expression for upper lower LFT, lower Fourier transform? P22 plus what? Okay. P22 plus P21 delta into I minus P11 delta whole inverse P12. Okay, that is generally upper LFT representation, right? So if you compare this thing with this equation, what will you get? What will be my P22? Tell me. Just compare this term by term. What will be our P22? Tell me.
2.4.
2.4. What certificate is that? 2.4. Correct. Right? What is P21? Come on. What is P21? What is P21?
0.4.
0.4. Right. P21 is 0.4. So this is P21, right? So what is P12?
1.
Correct. And what will be P21, 12, 11?
0.
0, right? Okay. So that means this parameter can be represented as a transformation like this. P11 was 0, P12 is 1, P21 is 0.4, and P22 is 2.4. Okay. So this will give us the nominal plant.
Sir,
Yes.
while comparing, sir, here we can also take P12 as 0.4 and P21 as 1.
Then you will then in that case you will get LLFT. Okay. There are two representations, right? Upper LFT and lower LFT. I will show you what is the change actually. Okay. So how can you represent it in upper LFT form? This is our nominal plant, PM. That is nothing but 0, 1, 0.4, 2.4. Okay. And this is Y. And this is U. So here we have our delta C, the perturbation. Okay. So this is, what is the signal at this point? Input to delta C is delta Z, right? So this is Z and this is W. Okay. Now the same thing can be compared with an LLFT equation to have it in LLFT form. What is the LLFT thing? It is easy to remember. ULFT it was P22. So LLFT it should be P11 plus here it is P21. So it should be what? P. In upper LFT it was P21. So in low LLFT it should be P12 into delta into I minus. If it is P11 here, it has to be P22. Okay, into delta whole inverse P21. Okay, now if you compare this with this, C equal to 2.4 plus minus 0.4. Now you tell me, what is P11 again? What is P11?
2.4.
2.4. What is P12?
0.4.
0.4. What is P21?
1.
1. And P22 will be
0.
0. Okay. So what will be the lower LFT representation? It will be something like this. So here we have our nominal plant. P11 was 2.4. P12 is 0.4. 21 is 1 and this is 0. Okay. And here we have the delta block. Delta block or K, whatever it is. Okay. So input to delta must be Z. This must be W. This should be U and this should be Y. Okay. So thus we can see that the unstructured block parameter C, it has been normalized and pulled out of the plant. The variations have been pulled out of the plant. Okay. Is that fine?
Yes,
So
sir.
let us take a system. Yes, yes. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
LFT representation of an uncertain mass spring damper system. consider a mass spring damper system. Okay. Consider a mass spring damper system. With uncertain elements. Uncertain elements. Okay, the mass is having some uncertainty. Similarly, spring and dashboard, they are all having some uncertainty. So what will be the differential equation pertaining to the mass spring damper? Mx double dot plus what?
Kx dot.
No, if K is spring, then it will be Kx. B is the dashboard constant. Okay, so Bx dot plus Kx equal to some forcing function, some f of t, force u. Okay, so assume that there are parametric uncertainties in mass m, b, and k. Okay, say I can write, for example, m as some nominal value m naught into, say, assume that there is 50% variation in mass. Okay, so I will write 1 plus 0.5 delta m. Okay, similarly, b has a nominal value b naught, and assume that there is 30% variation. So I can write 1 plus 0.3 delta b. And C, K, the spring constant, is having a nominal value K naught and say a variation of 40%. So I will write this as 0.4 delta C. So keep in mind, my delta M, delta B, delta C, they can take any values between -1 to +1. Okay, so this represents that's a 50% uncertainty in mass M, 30% uncertainty in the damper B, and 40% uncertainty in the spring K. Okay, so now from this equation, let us express equation 1 in state space form. So how will we define the state space form? How will you obtain the state space representation? What will you do? You will call X as X1. Is it not? Do you remember what is state space? Suppose you have, say, X double dot plus 3X dot plus 5X equal to U. How will you obtain the state space? The basic thing is you put X equal to X1. Okay, so what will be X dot? That will be X1 dot. You call that as X2. Why? Because state space means X dot equals AX plus BU. Okay, any nth order differential equation can be broken down into n number of first order differential equations. Okay, so see, this is a second order differential equation. Okay, so we have to go up to X double dot. So what is X double dot? X double dot is nothing but X2 dot. Okay, so what is X double dot from this equation? Minus 3X dot minus 5X plus U. But what is X dot? X dot is X2. So minus 3X2 minus X is X1, 5X1 plus U. Okay, so I can represent it in matrix form. X1 dot, X2 dot equals some matrix into X1, X2 plus something into U. What is X1 dot? X1 dot is X2. That means 0, 1, 0. Okay, 0 into X1 plus 1 into X2 plus 0 into U. What is X2 dot? Minus 5 minus 3 and 1. Okay, so this is our A matrix. This is our B matrix. Okay, likewise, you call X as X1. So what will be X dot? X dot will be X1 dot, or that will be X2. Okay, so what will be X double dot from this? Tell me. Tell me.
X2 dot.
X2 dot. So from this equation, what will you get? Tell me. Minus P by M X2.
Minus K by M X1.
Correct. Minus K by M X1.
Plus U by M.
Plus U by M. Aerospace guys, are you following what I'm saying? Did you understand how we got this thing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So now, what will be the plan? How can we represent this in a block diagram form? So here we have X dot. Okay. So so you see 1 by M is common in X double dot. So I can write 1 by M as a common factor. Okay. So output of that should be X double dot, because X double dot is nothing but 1 by M into blah, 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 blah. Right. So if this is X double dot, how can I get X dot? We have to integrate that. Okay. So what's the output? X dot. Okay. Now how can I get X from this? Again, I have to integrate this thing. Okay, so this is my x now. Okay, now, so x is same as y, because how did we define our state variable? Where is that? X equal to x1, right? So this is the output variable here, x. So I can write this as y also. Okay. So what is x double dot? It should be a sum of these three things. Okay. So there should be a summing point. Then there must be an input function u. Okay. That is at positive polarity u. Then what else? There should be a branch from x1 at a gain of minus k. That means there should be negative feedback minus then k. Okay. So it should start from x1 and my x1 is nothing but x. So from here. Okay. Then what else? There should be a term from x2. X2 is x dot. So x dot is x2, right? So from here, there should be another, must have a block with a gain of minus b. Okay. That means again, there should be a negative feedback from here. Right? So sum of all these things will give what? Will give this x double dot. Is this clear? How we consider this thing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are just basically trying to satisfy this equation. Okay. So we'll get this. Now we have to represent all these things for in LFT term, because see here in the previous case, C was one single parameter where there was variation. Now there are variations in the mass, in the dashpot, and as well as in the spring case. Okay, so LFT representation. So you see, we need a representation for 1 by m, because 1 by m is the factor here, not m. Okay, all the terms are being divided with or are being multiplied with 1 by m. So LFT representation for m. So what is 1 by m? M is this thing. So what is 1 by m? 1 by m naught into 1 plus 0.5 delta m. Okay. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, how can we represent this in LFT? Suppose we want to represent in ULFT form, upper LFT form. So what is the general expression? P22 plus P21 delta into I minus P11 delta inverse P12. Okay. So how can I find the find the nominal model here? Or how can I find the perturbation here? What's the nominal model? Nominal parameter. What's the nominal model here for the mass? Come on. What's the nominal model? What is the nominal model? M naught. Is it not? M naught is the nominal value.
Yes, sir.
Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
M naught is the nominal value. Okay. So if you want to find the perturbation, what you have to do from the nominal model, you have to subtract the, or from the perturbed model, you have to subtract the nominal model. Yes or no? Perturbed model means what? Nominal model along with the perturbation. Do you agree with me on that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the perturbed model? Perturbed model is 1 by m naught into 1 plus 0.5 delta m. This is the perturbed model. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
From this, I am subtracting the nominal value. What will you get? Tell me. From the perturbed model, I am subtracting the nominal model. What will you get in general?
The perturbation.
Hey, louder, louder.
The perturbations.
Perturbation, correct. The perturbation. Okay. So you do this thing and tell me what are you getting? What is this value? Tell me.
0.5 delta m.
Plus or minus?
Minus.
Minus. So you will get minus 0.5 delta m divided by what?
1 plus 0.5 delta m.
Into
M naught.
m naught. Correct. M naught into 1 plus, what did you get? 1 plus 0.5 delta m. 1 plus 0.5 delta m. Okay. So I can write this as, so you see this is the perturbed model. Okay. So perturbed model means nominal model plus the perturbation, and this is the perturbation. Okay. So I can write this as minus 0.5 delta m divided by m naught into 1 plus 0.5 delta m. Do you agree with me on this?
Yes, sir.
No. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Keep in mind 1 by m. This is the perturbed model. Okay. Perturbed model means nominal model plus perturbation. Plus perturbation. Okay. So this is the perturbation given in the mass. Okay. So we have to represent it as this is the perturbed thing, the entire perturbed thing. Okay. So from that, we need to identify what is the nominal model and what is the perturbation. Okay. So 1 by m naught is the nominal model, and this is the uncertainty or the perturbation involved. Is that fine? Now I can write this as, express this as again 1 by m naught, okay, minus 0.5 delta m into 1 plus 0.5 delta m inverse. Is this right? Into 1 by m naught. Is this fine? This is correct?
Yes.
Do everyone agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now if you compare it with the upper LFT equation, what is P11? This is the upper LFT equation, right? What is P11?
Minus 0.5.
Correct, minus 0.5, right? Then what is P12?
M naught inverse.
M naught inverse or 1 by m naught. Okay, anyhow. Then what is P21?
0.5.
Not 0.5, minus 0.5.
Minus 0.5, yes.
Okay, minus 0.5. And what will be P22?
1 by
Eh?
1 by
1 by m naught. 1 by m naught. Okay, so this mass can be represented as a nominal model and as a perturbation as a separate block like this. Pm will be P11 is minus 0.5, P12 is 1 by m naught, P21 is minus 0.5, and P22 is 1 by m naught. Okay, then here we have the perturbation in the mass delta m. Okay, so this is U, this is Y, and this is Z, and this is W. It is not necessary that always you need to compare it with the ULFT. You can compare it with the LLFT also. Okay, it's up to you. You can decide based on your problem at hand. Sometimes using ULFT will be convenient. Sometimes using LLFT will be convenient. Okay, now if you want, you can compare with LLFT also. What is LLFT? This is P22 means this is P11 plus this will be P12 delta into what? I minus P22 delta inverse into P21. Okay, so now you compare this equation 1 with LLFT and see what you are getting. Tell me, what will you get? What is P11?
1 by m naught.
1 by m naught. What is P12?
Minus 0.
Minus 0.5. Correct. And P21? Srinivas, what is P21? Srinivas? Chaitanya?
1 by m naught, sir.
1 by m naught. And P22 will be how much?
Minus 0.5.
Minus 0.5. Okay. So same thing now when expressed in LLFT form, you will get these coefficients. Okay. Now coming back. What about representing this damper as LLFT? Now we are considering the variation, the perturbation, the damper B. Okay. So let me write it here. B is the 30% variation. So B is B naught into what? 1 plus 0.3 delta B. Okay. Delta B varies in this range. Okay. So how can we represent this thing? So see in the block diagram, it is B, not 1 by B. Okay. So directly you can consider this equation. Okay. If you compare this with LLFT, what is LLFT? P11 plus this thing. Tell me what is P11?
No.
Okay.
0, sir.
P11 is 0? No.
B naught.
P11 is
B naught.
P naught. P12
0.3.
only that much? 0.3. P naught will be there, right? Did you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
P12 will be 0.3 B naught because this comes together. Okay. What will be P21?
1.
1. And P22?
0.
0. Right? So now we can have the LLFT representation for this damper. B naught, 0.3 B naught, 1, 0. Input is Z only, right? Input to the, what is that? Input to delta is Z. Okay. And the other one is W. Okay. Now finally for the spring, spring it is 40% variation. So K equals K naught into 1 plus 0.4 delta K minus 1 less than equal to delta K less than equal to 1. K naught plus 0.4 K naught delta K. Right? So again, LLFT. What is LLFT? P11. Compare with LLFT. So what will you get? What is P11 here?
P naught.
P naught. P12. Sorry, K naught. Then P12.
0.4 K naught.
0.4 K naught. Then P21.
1.
P21.
1.
1. Correct. And P22.
0.
0. Okay. If P22 had some value, you would have got some inverse term associated with that. Okay. So long as there is no inverse term associated, you can straight away take P22 as 0. Did you get me what I'm saying? So straight away,
Yes, sir.
you can take P22 equal to 0 in that case, right? So finally, for the spring, we can have this LLFT representation like this. Pk, P11 is K naught, P12 is 0.4 K naught, P21 is 1, P22 is 0. Okay, so input to this thing is Z, and output is W, this is U, and this is 1. Fine. So what is our aim? Our aim is to separate out the nominal values from this system. Where is that? From here. Okay. Keep in mind, M means 1 by M naught into, it is a perturbed plant, right? M was perturbed thing, K was also perturbed, and B was also perturbed, right? So we have to separate out all these things. Okay. So let me read out the figure once again. So this was our thing, summing point. So here, we had our PM. Okay, what is PM? So now I am expressing in terms of the LFTs, what we have obtained. PM, PB, and this thing. Okay, so let me draw this as PM. So from PM, this is X double dot. This was the output. Are you following what I'm saying? This 1 by M was the perturbed mass. Okay, so now we have expressed all these perturbed mass, spring, and damper in LFT form. Okay, so we have to separate out the perturbation from the total system. That's what I am doing. Right? So now you see I have the nominal model PM. I have the nominal damper PB. I have the nominal spring PK. Okay, so the X double dot, then it should go to where? It should go to an integrator. Integrator, there is no change. So we have an integrator. This is X dot, one more integrator. This is X. Okay, then here it should come from, it should go to B, right? So instead of B, we have what? We have PB, because we have already separated out the nominal model of the damper from the perturbed system. Okay, so here we must have a PB block. And what's the input coming from X dot? Okay, it is going to this point. Negative thing, right? Then what next? We have a spring constant K here. So that should be replaced with the nominal model. So again, we have PK. Where it is coming from? It is coming from X, right? Peak. Minus sign. This is U. Okay. Is this complete now? No. Because you see PM. Where is PM? PM, there were two inputs, U and W. We didn't mark W and Z. Okay, so we have to mark that. WM is the input and Z is the output. So here, this is WM and this is ZM. Did you understand what is drawn here?
Yes, sir.
What is this? This is nothing but this representation. Okay, instead of drawing the delta M block, I had shown what are the inputs and outputs to the perturbation block. That's what I have represented. Okay.
But second input is different, no?
Which input? Which second input is different?
Like you.
Like what?
Sir, U bar.
U1. What is U1?
U1 is.
What is U1? See, you mean this U1, right?
Yes, sir.
That will be different, of course. This U, I mean the reference input actually, right? That is something, this signal is different. Yes, yes. So don't get confused with this U and this U. Both are different. Okay. This U is the reference input. So maybe I can write this as a, what notation I should use? Say P I can write. Let me put this as P. Okay. So here it will be P only, not U.
Okay.
Did you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, don't get confused, right? Then similarly, PB. PB also has an input. What's the second input? What's the second input to PB? WB. The exogenous input. Are not you following what I'm saying? See, this mass was a parameter, was a perturbed parameter. Okay. B was a perturbed damper. Is that fine? And K was a perturbed spring. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
That is why you are given these things. These are for perturbed systems, perturbed parameters. Okay. From the perturbed system, we have to pull out the perturbation. Okay. So from the perturbed system, we want to have a model wherein we have the nominal plant as a block and delta, the perturbation as a separate block. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
LFT does that. Whether it is upper one or lower one, LFT does that. Okay, you have plant as a separate block and that perturbation as another separate block, right? So from this, in this model, since we have 1 by M, we have to separate out the nominal plant and the nominal parameter and the perturbation, right? That is what we did here with the help of upper LFT. Okay, so you see, this is the nominal parameter for the mass, PM. That is put under one block. Now, we have pulled out the uncertainty in the mass as separate block delta M. Is that much clear? Similarly, we in the damper, we have to pull out, we wanted to pull out the nominal model PB, right? Plus the perturbation as a separate block. We had represented as a separate block here. That is what we did. Similarly, in the spring also there was a perturbation. So we had found the nominal model for the spring as separate block PK and the perturbation in the spring as a separate block delta K. Okay, so now you see this taken together will represent the perturbed spring. This taken together will represent the perturbed damper. And this taken together will represent the perturbed mass. Okay, so now we are fitting these things into the original block diagram. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so instead of representing delta M, delta K separately, I have shown the signals which are going to and coming from delta M, delta B, and delta K respectively. Is this much clear?
Yes, sir.
That's what we did up to now. Okay, that's what we did up to now, right? Then PK also has another input from the uncertainty, WK, and an output ZK. Okay. Now what next? All these things, all the perturbations. See, so there's a perturbation delta M, delta B, and delta K, right? So how many inputs are there to the system? Can you tell me how many total inputs are there? This is the control input U. Then in addition to U, how many inputs do we have? How many inputs do we have?
6.
Eh?
4.
U, then
WM,
WM, correct.
WK.
Then
WB,
WB, then
WK.
WK. Okay, these are the 4 inputs. And which are the 4 outputs? Y or X. Okay, this is the output. Huh? Then what else?
ZK,
ZK,
ZK, and ZB. Okay, so I can, in general, I can write this as a system like this. There are 4 inputs. This is U, this is WM, this is WB, this is WK, and 4 outputs: Y, ZM, ZK, and Z. Okay. So now how can we represent this? So this can be represented like this. Again, we can redraw this like this. So this is the nominal model GMBK, and these are the inputs and the outputs. Keep in mind, U is the command input, or U is the control input to the plant. Y is the output. These are the exogenous inputs, and these are the regulated outputs. Okay. So this can again be represented like this: a single block GMBK and a perturbation block. Or let me redraw it here. GMB. Okay. Delta M, delta B, and delta K. Can I represent it like this? What did I do here? Tell me. What did I do here? Tell me. What did I do here? Hello. What I did is that I represented the plant nominal model. Okay. Keep in mind, the plant had 3 parameters with 3 variations. Okay. Our mass had varied in a 50%, K 40%, and B 30%. Right. So now what I have done, I have represented the nominal model of the plant as GMBK, and the perturbations have been pulled out. Okay, so this represents the total nominal model of the spring mass damper system. Total spring mass damper system nominal model is here, and this represents the variation in the spring mass damper. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So this perturbation delta, what's the nature of this block? It is diagonal. Okay, so it has some structure kind of. Okay, so this is called structured uncertainty. Okay, structured uncertainty.
Sir,
Yes.
how will it be diagonal?
You see, because this delta m is the parameter in mass m only.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that doesn't affect the perturbation in the mass in the spring or in the damper, right? They are independent. Delta m is the perturbation in the mass only. Similarly, delta b is the perturbation in B, the damper, and delta k is the variation in K only. They do not influence the other parameters.
Sir, each row in that matrix denotes what, sir?
No, this arrangement of the row has no significance basically. Since I wrote here GMBK, I just wrote it in a diagonal form: delta M, delta B, delta K. If you write this as BMK, then this will be B, this will be M, this will be K. It simply signifies that delta M or delta B is the perturbation associated with the parameter mass M or damper B. That's all. Okay. This generally only I wrote like this.
Okay.
Okay. Unless you really take down all the equation and pitch in these things, you cannot know what's the order. Of course, it will be diagonal because you know here there are three parameters: mass, spring, and damper. Right? They are in, the variation in each of these things they are independent. They are decoupled, basically, you can say. Because delta M is the parameter variation in mass M only. That has no influence on the damper B. Right? In damper B, we have another variation from delta B. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is just a representation only. Right? So we will stop here and continue in the next class.